Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fright, Fight. I am Nick Boddick. You can find me at Nick Boddick across all social media and nickboddick.com. And I am here with my wonderful co-host, this gentleman.
I'm Travis Brown. You can find me at travisbrownwriting.com. And that's, I think, it, because everything else should be tied to that. So thanks for having me on again, Nick.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, you're half the show, so it's not
Ah.
it's not a matter of me having you on. It's just like maybe. Oh my god, dude, my cat. He's been fine. We've been talking for like 13 minutes, and now he's whatever, dude. All right, hi, buddy. I love you. Do you want to come here? Come on. Come on.
As soon as he knew you were recording, he's like,
Yeah.
all right, now's the time.
Seriously. Come on, bud. All right. Wow, this is just great content, dude. People are going to love this. All right. So today is kind of I want to say a little bit of a turning point in the show, maybe. Not really. We're just doing things a little bit different this time. So, probably should have discussed this more throughout the week since we've recorded last, but we talked about it a little bit in the last episode. We are having some kind of judging metrics. So the ones that I have out, we're just going to hash this out right on the show, dude.
Okay.
The first one is story. Like, so these will apply for, generally we're going to be doing like movie and TV stuff, but like today we'll be doing books. So the first metric is story. The second is characters. And then the third I have, for movies, it'd be like special effects. And then, but for books, we'll do like effectiveness. Like how did the book kind of give you that feeling of dread, you know? 4 would just be the horror element. Like how I guess, I know horror is a subjective thing. Nope. Never mind. I'm gonna stop right there. Almost went right back into it, but just kind of how pure horror it is, because like horror branches off a lot. And then 5 is just the overall entertainment value of it. How entertaining is it? How much fun was it to watch or read? Are you cool with those?
I'm very cool with those. I think it might be tough because as I was going through this, and I haven't reread any of the Stephen King. I have read most of his stuff, except the new one, which I don't know if you've gotten a chance to crack open. The fairy tale, I think.
Yeah, I read Fairy Tale. It was good.
I haven't read that yet. It's next on my list. I'm actually finishing up a Star Wars extended universe book because I'm a gigantic nerd.
Which one?
Every now and then, Darth Plagueis.
Fuck yes, dude.
Yeah,
Darth Plagueis
it's
is
a good
the
one.
shit. I'm reading Darth Bane again.
Darth Bane is always good. Like I will read those.
Too.
Yeah, every couple of years, I'm just like, I should read the Darth Bane series again.
Yeah, dude, it's so good.
But yes, after I finish that, Fairy Tale is probably next on my list, and then actually researching for this episode of the podcast has made me want to reread a bunch of Stephen King stuff. I think the criteria is going to be tough because some of his best work isn't his scariest. Like he's written some legit scary stuff. I think It is probably his scariest, but it's not my favorite of his.
Same here.
It's
I
very
agree.
good. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I won't jump into it until we actually get to the ranking and the argument.
All right. So if you haven't picked up on it yet, today we are defending against each other our favorite Stephen King books, and we did not, like, for the last 3 episodes where we've done the movies and the franchises or whatever, we knew ahead of time what the other was going to be defending, but I think we were both kind of banking on each other, being the massive Stephen King fans that we are, to be able, like, to have read what the other one picked. And I've read most of his stuff. I'm sure I'll have read whatever you pick, unless you pick some super obscure, like, which I don't think you're going to. I think I know you fairly well, and I don't think you're going to do that.
Yeah. Like his, was it the Richard Bachman novel?
Yeah.
You're
picking
pretty good.
Firestarter. Yeah,
yes,
no, dude. The Bachman books are good. Did you ever read Rage?
I didn't. I've read a summary. That was the school shooting one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've heard that he. I think he was okay with it going out of print, or it's been pulled before.
Yeah.
Because of that, but yeah, no, I think that. What was the one where they were walking?
Oh, The Long Walk.
The Long Walk. I read that one years ago, and I thought it was so good.
That was the first book he ever wrote.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Even before Carrie?
I believe before Carrie. Yeah.
Oh.
or the first. No, because yeah, Carrie was his first published novel. I think. Yeah, he wrote Long Walk first. I'm pretty sure. Or I'm just
Yeah,
making that
remember?
up. I don't know. I don't think I am.
Well, it's and I thought it was funny too that he also wrote The Running Man. So there's like a whole walking, running Stephen King universe.
Yeah, right.
There needs to be like a jogging one right in the middle.
Yes. Oh man, my camera is being a
Mm.
dick. All right, sorry about that. All right, so shall we get into it?
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
No, you go first. You go first.
Okay.
What are you picking?
So this one was tough, and I'm gonna have to add a couple caveats because there were so many when I went back and looked at it. And I'm gonna say my pick overall is book 4 of the Dark Tower, Wizard and
Wizard and
Glass.
Glass.
Yeah, that one is just always. I love the Gunslinger. I love the whole series, but Wizard and Glass was just something special. I don't know if it's because it was also like more of a western, more of this like complete fantasy. There was almost like a campfire story that was being told within a story. There's just all these great elements that make it stand out, and it's scary and it's crazy, and it is just like Roland at his best. So
Yeah.
I will say that out of all of the Stephen King books, Wizard and Glass is my overall pick. Though I do have 2 honorable mentions I had to put on the record. The first is for favorite anthology, different seasons. It's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely insane. I went back and triple checked because it's been a while since I read it to make sure all the stories that are in there, and they are all bangers. The only one that I don't think, or the weakest, which is still very good, is the Breathing Method.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great story, but it's stacked up against Apt Pupil, Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption, and then The Body, which is my favorite Stephen King short story and one of my favorite movies ever, which is Stand by Me.
Yeah, dude. Stand by
Just
Me. The song is my second favorite song ever.
it's nuts. I mean, Apt Pupil is amazing, but the fact that
Mhm.
Shawshank Redemption and The Body, Stand by Me are in the same collection, and they're very loose horror. Like they'd probably get removed from No Sleep.
Yeah,
Not joking,
yeah.
but that they're in the same one. So I can't think of many other anthologies that are that strong with 4 novellas in there. And then
Yeah.
my other honorable mention is nonfiction, his book on writing, which
Oh
I've
man,
probably read a dozen times.
you and me
It is.
both, dude.
If anyone asks about like what's a good book to start, reading about creative writing, I will always say On Writing by Stephen King.
There's nothing better.
Yeah,
Like there is no
it's so
better.
fantastic. The
It's
only thing I think is close in a way is Movable Feast by Hemingway.
I haven't read
It's
that
less
one.
about it's so good. It's less about the process of writing and more about just like an autobiographical look that also kind of glimpses at his process. And Stephen King is actually a bit further on the technical side, but still has the
Yeah.
autobiographical stuff. But yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, there's some. I would highly recommend Movable Feast. It's also probably the best book ever written about Paris and the city itself. And Hemingway really gets into the cobblestones and the alleys and every part of it. So,
That's
anyways,
awesome.
those are mine. For this one, my overall pick is Wizard and Glass, but different seasons and on writing I had to include.
All right. And I kind of did the same thing. I have the one that I picked, and then also two backups there. My overall pick is a modern King novel, not one of his classics that I feel
Ooh.
most people say, The Outsider.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
love The Outsider, dude. That it's that one
it was
just
good.
creeped the hell out of me. And
Hmm.
then it was just such an engaging story. Well, I'll get into why it's my favorite. But okay, actually, no, sorry, I take that back. No, like it is,
It's
it,
still The Outsider, folks.
it's
Okay.
still The Outsider, but my I had another one that I was gonna pick first, but I knew it would be much harder to defend.
Hmm.
It is as you know, I am a huge Lovecraft fan,
Oh yeah.
and King has dabbled in the Lovecraft from time to time. And my
Wait, are you gonna
overall
say From a Buick 8?
no,
You know.
but that's
Okay.
that's a wonderful book. I love
All
that
right.
one.
Good.
No, Revival.
Oh, okay.
That is my number one all time favorite King book. Followed
Huh.
very closely by The Outsider, but the Revival is kind of hard to would be kind of hard to defend, I think, because so much of it is not really horror, I guess. I mean, as you know, it's basically like just a memoir almost, and then
Mm-hmm.
it culminates in this just bombastic Lovecraftian ending. And that's really where all the horror comes from, is in the last like 10 pages. And I didn't think I had the wherewithal to defend it and win.
You might have got me too, because I don't think I've read Revival. I haven't caught up on all of his modern stuff.
Okay.
I read what I read. I read Under the Dome,
Mm.
but I haven't read Revival. I read The Outsider, and then I think he also did included a novella set in that universe in If It Bleeds. Which I read.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be getting into If It Bleeds. Don't you
yeah.
worry.
He's, you know what? He doesn't get enough credit, I think, for some of his modern stuff. What's his one about the JFK assassination? Is it
2263.
Yeah, that one was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty recent. I remember that was a really return to like the most classic kind of King. I definitely fell off around the Cell era. I used to just like devour everything, and I read Cell. I was like, I really didn't particularly like that.
Yeah, Cell's not one of my favorites from him. That's the one where like cell phones and zombies and shit.
Yeah, they like turning into zombies, and I think it was just it felt a lot like an aging guy being a little nervous about new technology.
Yeah,
which I get, but you know, cell phones are just so. Hi, cat.
My Callie girl. Oh my god.
Oh man,
she's huge.
Do you have a Stephen King blanket or banner or something on the back of your chair?
Oh, dude, yeah, dude. My mom got me this for Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got Roland right there. It's got a ton of them. If It Bleeds right there, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's pretty recent, actually. Yeah,
I will definitely say I think that of all the Stephen King work, some of his novellas and short stories and anthologies are just so fucking good. Like If It Bleeds, Full Dark No Stars was amazing. Like I've reread that a couple times.
Same here.
And of course, different seasons. Hearts in Atlantis.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Hearts in Atlantis. That one, I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about that one.
Yeah.
Because my grandma's a huge Stephen King fan too. She's actually the one who put me onto him, 30 years, not 30 years ago. I was 4 years old. She wasn't having me read Stephen King when I was just out of diapers. But she has all his early books, all the first editions of his early books, actually. And yeah, I read her copy of Cell, and I remember, I was not a big fan, but I forgot why I brought up my grandma. She's just a cool lady. I want to talk about her.
This is now a Nick's grandma podcast.
Yep, that's right. Oh, dude, like she could hold her own with us, dude. I promise.
Yeah.
But no. So yeah, King's short story work, I think, or his short stories overall, I think, are miles ahead of his novels, and his novels are phenomenal. Like, so it's not like I'm trying to put down his long form work, but he's mastered the art of the short story.
And I think too that his short stories, the concepts are just so strong, and that's why most of his best film adaptations, I think, come from the short stories, like Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, Stand By Me, Maximum Overdrive, obviously. As one of the greatest.
Dude, just that is peak cinema right there.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. But the actual matchup we're doing is going to be The Outsider versus Wizard and Glass, right?
Yes.
Is that where? Okay.
Yeah.
It's tough because I feel like we're just going on to all of them, and it'd be very easy to change. And now I'm kind of worried that it's going to shake my pick.
No, man. All right. No, we got this, dude. And the thing is, like, what sucks about this show, dude? I don't want you to lose. I would love it if you were like, well, I want to fucking destroy you.
I think it depends. If we ever had like a huge difference of taste or opinion, then yeah, it'd be fun and competitive. But I think that we're really close. to the point where we might need to start getting a third person as a spoiler who
Yeah.
just like has completely different taste,
Mm-hmm.
hates everything we like, and then you and I just like team up on them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, dude, try this one. The perfect person for that, I kid you not, is my father.
Oh, okay.
And he messaged me because I was talking to him about this show. And he was like, "Is there any chance I could come on there at some point?" And I was
Hell yeah.
yes, dude, like, because he hates everything. Like that's not fair. That's so reductionist of me. Like he's just, I like everything. Like
Mhm,
I've said it before. I'm sure. Like I can find something to like in everything.
mhm,
There's very few instances where I watch something and walk away having not found a single redeeming quality. But my dad, he is almost the opposite, though not quite to an extent. He's like just overly critical, and he'll admit it himself. Like he sometimes forgets that the purpose of a movie or a TV show, the overall purpose is to entertain,
mhm.
and he lets that slip by sometimes. So he's much more critical, and he's dude. He would be the perfect foil to us, who just
Mhm.
likes all the horror. So yeah, we'll have to have him on sometime, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fun. Just
Hell yeah,
break it down.
hell
But
yeah.
all right. So what is your defense of The Outsider
Of
as
the
the best Stephen
outsider.
novel?
All right, so if I think if we're doing it this new with the new judging metrics, I think the easiest way to kind of organize it would be to just kind of go down one by one.
Okay.
The story of the outsider. It is so just it's told a mile a minute, but it doesn't feel rushed. The pacing is perfect. It's it's slow when it needs to be. It's just one after the other, like just crazy fast pace when it needs to be, and just the concept of the villain. Spoilers for all this, obviously. Um,
Mhm.
the concept of the outsider is my favorite. Like, so it's my favorite King villain ever is the outsider, and I think that must have something to do with the fact that Stolen Tongues by Felix, that is one, like Stolen Tongues is one of my favorite books of all time by Felix Blackwell. Shout out
Mhm.
Felix, go buy it.
Okay.
Um, and in his book, it's the imposter, and that's something similar to the outsider there, like thematically, I guess, kind of. And so, like, I guess I just kind of have a thing for ancient beings pretending to be people or whatever.
Mhm.
um, but like I love that the motivations of, and now I guess I'm kind of getting into the second point, characters more. I like that the motivations are really not revealed at all, and it's just this this being, this thing, this entity going around just causing all this mayhem and grief and terror and just mayhem, and it just does not give a fuck. Like it's
Yeah.
because once they catch up to it in the cave, it's like I fucking hate you all. I hope you all die. I can't wait for you to die. Like it's a total asshole of an entity. Like it is as like an evil being. Like Walter White is evil, but he has some redeeming qualities. This thing has no redeeming qualities at all, and like they hint maybe that it's like suffering in a way, but
Mhm.
it's like no, I'm not suffering. Like I'm only suffering because I don't have a kid to eat right now, and like I don't know. I like that. I like that it was just so just vehemently evil, and
Yeah.
I like that. And just the story, back to go back to the story. Sorry, I'm jumping around. Just the way that it starts with this in my head because I watched the show first, the HBO show, and
Mhm.
so Jason Bateman in the story, he um the story starts with him and his family and everything's going good, and then he gets arrested for just the brutal uh sorry, shit, I did not mean to say that, the brutal murder and assault of
Hmm.
this like 11 or 12-year-old boy. And like you learn quickly that like he actually didn't do it, but it's just the back and forth of the cops having evidence that he did do it, like ironclad evidence that he did it, DNA and witnesses on top of witnesses. But then there, you see against the other half that there are witnesses that put him 200 miles away at the time of the murder, and like all these, and like just the back and forth, and it keeps you wondering like, did he do it, did he not? And then when it all finally comes to a head, and it's just, I don't know, man, it all just came together and worked so well for me. um
Yeah, yeah, and I
yeah.
would say that definitely one of King's best villains, and he's so good at villains, so it's tough to put him up there. I personally like Pennywise and Randall Flagg more, but I do think that in the themes of that chaotic, almost fun evil, and I don't say fun in any kind of like lighthearted way. It's just it's so hateful.
So
Uh,
evil.
but and that's what makes it so interesting. Also, equal opportunity. It's just like I fucking hate all of you. People are the worst. You are food, and I like fucking with you. And it does
Yep.
feel like a an evolution of Pennywise. I think that it's sort of like a trimmed fat version, so there's not as much antics like the clownery and the messing with your nightmares. It's just like I'm going to ruin your life, and then I'm going to fucking kill you, and I'm going to burn down your village. Just like
Yeah.
you have to respect something that dedicated to just being the worst.
Yeah, right, exactly that. Thank you for articulating what I was failing to do so.
No, it's
um
a great villain. I do, it's probably top five for me, but definitely helps with the story. And I really like the HBO series. And the same thing that, as you mentioned, so much of the horror is approachable and it resonates with you. It's the fear of like your entire life being ruined, even though you're innocent, and you not knowing how to prove that.
mhm.
It's very scary. It's something where it ended up being lucky for that character. Not well, spoilers, I guess, but
Yeah.
they had an alibi that probably most people would never have, but it still didn't work out for them. Obviously,
Yeah.
with the kid shooting them.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just like how demented is that to think that there might be a force out there that one fucking hates your guts for just you existing, and two isn't just going to kill you. They're going to destroy your reputation and
Hmm.
make you be remembered as a monster. And that's scary because there's this really cool, I can't remember what we talked about before, but there's the hierarchy of fear, which is about the different kinds of terror and what it's related to. There's obviously the fear of death is a major cornerstone, but there's also an ego death, which is when you're faced with something that destroys your perception of yourself. And then likewise, there's something that if your perception is destroyed by the ones you care about, your community and your family, that's a form of ego death, and that's its own little plane on the hierarchy of fear.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different levels there, and it's very chilling. It's a chilling concept, and the more you think about it, the scarier it gets.
Yeah, because that's a really good point. Thank you for giving me more ammunition. Like, yeah, so like obviously, I most people, I hope for the world's sake, don't go through life worrying that uh, a millennia old entity is going to come and scratch them on the wrist, and then just do heinous acts to children and ruin your entire existence.
Hmm.
But the idea that, I mean, first off, the being arrested for a crime you didn't commit is, I feel like, just a universal fear. Whether you acknowledge it really or not, like everyone would be afraid of that happening, even if
Yeah,
it's not something you think about. You would be afraid of it happening. And then yeah, definitely the having your entire reputation just because, and like in this story, I don't know if King meant it even as kind of a commentary on anything really, but like the even if Jason Bateman would, even if it would have come out that, I keep saying Bateman, I'm sorry, like even if the main character who uh even if he even if it would have come out that he did not do this, he's still fucked.
Yeah.
No one will ever trust him again. No one will ever look at him the same way. People will still cross the street when they see him. Like, his life is over from that point, no matter what. As soon as, God damn it, I'm gonna say it. As soon as oh, why am I blanking on the name? Whatever. As soon as the cop Ralph Anderson in the story arrests him, it's done. It's over. His life is ruined. And that's another character I really love in the book is Ralph. He he goes through such a good evolution throughout the book from this person who is so just beyond any doubt that I'm still blank. I gotta look up the name of the main character.
It's just Jason Bateman. We all know.
He's so certain that Jason Bateman is guilty of these crimes, and like slowly as the book goes on and this new information comes in, and it starts breaking down these walls a little bit, and you see why he was so like gung ho about making a big public show of arresting him, and then they start introducing the possibility that there's a supernatural angle, and he's initially so just opposed to that or just dismissive of it as being just ludicrous. But as the story goes on, he sees things he can't explain or he can't dismiss, and just the kind of having a look inside his head as the book goes on is fascinating to me. And then I mean, Holly Gibney, dude. Like,
yes,
you
Holly's
get more
great.
Holly. Yeah. I know she's a very divisive character, but I like Holly. She's great.
I enjoy her. I think that she is fun, almost in a like modern Sherlock sort of way. But she makes a good compliment to Ralph's character as well.
Yeah.
And it's good. Like, I think overall the characters are very strong in The Outsider, but I will argue that this is something where Wizard and Glass by far dominates, because I think that not even just the whole Dark Tower series. I love the quartet, the whole group of them. Roland, of course, but Eddie has always been my number one. Like
Eddie Dean.
Love Eddie Dean.
Hell yeah.
But the fact that you have those same amazing characters, and then the whole aspect of Wizard and Glass, where it's a story within a story, which, by the way, I would love to see. I'm so hopeful that Flanagan's Dark Tower series is like really authentic to the book, and I'm sure it will be. He's a fucking genius. He's amazing.
A master, dude.
I recently rewatched Midnight Mass, and I didn't love it as much the first time. I liked it. I just didn't like it nearly as much as Haunting, because obviously that thing was a masterpiece.
It's perfect, yeah.
But on a rewatch, it's really good. Like, it is just such an amazing story, and you can see these clear lines of probably where things came from in his past, and it's a great commentary on religion and faith in general. And I was raised Catholic too, so that sticks with me as well. And also just about New England and about alcoholism and addiction, which is a common theme in a lot of his. I don't know anything about his personal history, but I think he's written some of the best sympathetic and understandable addict characters too in any work of horror.
And realistic, dude. Like, I shout it from the rooftops every chance I get, dude. Like, I'm a recovering heroin addict. I did all the drugs you can name, but so like the depiction of addiction and or recovery is almost worse in this regard, is so unrealistic. And I mean, granted, like I can only speak for myself and what I've seen. Maybe these depictions are the absolute perfect truth for someone else, and if they are good, like like no two people recover the same, but like it always, like whenever I see like NA meetings in movies or shows, like it's always they're always like forcing people to stand up and talk to people. Like I've
Yeah.
been to a lot of NA meetings. I've never been to one like that. Like it's a bunch
Yeah.
of lazy people sitting in chairs, like who want to talk instead of being like
Drinking
forced to.
coffee. Just,
Dude,
yeah.
just gallons of coffee.
And then going outside to smoke. And I say that is not someone who's personally been involved in it, but so much of my mom's side, like a couple of my cousins, my uncle, my grandfather, her father, had all been in AA for decades, and I'd gone to some meetings with them. And then my previous role professionally was working at a health department in public information, but because of that, I had to go to a lot of different. We had a WAX, which was the Worcester Addiction Center, and go to those and actually be there at some meetings and talk to these folks. And Flanagan nails it just for everything that I've ever seen, and it feels so unrealistic. And most, like you say, it's people being like forced to stand up and then they're like reciting a thing,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't feel natural at all. And his characters just, I don't know, they get it.
Mhm.
But that's completely off of Wizard and Glass.
Yeah.
I think it's stuck with us. We might need a third person just to like keep us grounded.
Yeah.
Because you and I will just jump into these different things like, hey, let's talk about another fucking amazing horror movie.
All right, dude.
Go,
I love it.
But yes, the characters in Wizard and Glass, some of the best in any Stephen King novel, because you have the classic Cadet, and then you've got his original one, which is also fucking awesome. I love the teen cowboys, and it sounds so dorky on paper, but the fact that they're all like psycho killer gunslingers, especially
Yeah,
Roland
dude.
at 14 is like the scariest, miniature little Clint Eastwood.
Yes, dude.
And it is just done so chef's kiss. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I think they have some of the best villains. Obviously, Randall Flagg is my number one of all time. I think he's just such a
And I will say, like, as much as I love the Imposter, I almost don't even consider Randall Flagg when I think of my favorite Stephen King villains, because Randall Flagg is he's in my top 5 just fictional characters, period.
yeah.
So like, yeah, like he's amazing. Dude, like, who do you think? Just real quick tangent again. I'm sorry. Who do you think is the best depiction of him so far in live action? Because I mean, we have.
In live action, I don't know. Maybe like the original Stand movie. That one was sort of. I don't think that he's been done justice yet. I go back and forth on Matthew McConaughey in Dark Tower, and I think part of the reason I don't like it as much is because that whole movie is terrible. And I love Idris Elba and everything. And if only they had done better with that movie, I could have liked it. But I don't know. I'm very excited to see what Flanagan does, because Randall Flagg is just the same thing with The Outsider, like that chaotic evil, like fuck all of you. I'm going to make you miserable. You've done nothing to me, but I still take it personally.
Yeah.
And I guess on a sliding scale of like how much amusement they're taking from it, obviously you've got Pennywise at the end where he's just like cacklingly evil and a little silly, but it's still terrifying. Then I think Randall Flagg is kind of nice in the middle where he still has a great sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
But he fucking hates your guts. And then yours, The Outsider, it's not as humorous. It's more like almost professional. Like, I'm going to fuck your day up, and that's my job. And, I love my job.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
So on that level, Randall Flagg just nails it. And then even like the other antagonists, like the witch, Rhea, and the Big Coffin Hunters. Also, what a great fucking name.
Dude, Big Coffin Hunters. Yeah, dude. That's such a good name.
I don't understand why Stephen King didn't call his band the Big Coffin Hunters, because that's so goddamn great.
That really is,
But,
yeah.
Yeah, so everything there is just a character through the roof. It is so perfect. Susan is amazing and tragic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only area where I don't even want to say weaker, it's just the focus isn't as much on horror, but there's kind of a lot of existential dread in the way that you're kind of like trapped in your future. Oh, I think you froze. Okay.
We good?
Oh, wait. Yeah, now you're back. I thought you just had the same expression for a while. I'm like, he's just
oh no!
That in.
Oh, I froze for you.
Yeah.
You froze for me.
Okay.
That was weird. All right. Okay, so sorry, you were saying Susan and the
Yes,
tragedy of
amazing
Susan.
characters. Yeah, the only thing I was saying that I think Outsider might edge it out on pure horror, but
Hmm.
there's a lot of like existential dread within Wizard and Glass, the whole being trapped by fate and the obsession. When you look into Merlin's grapefruit, you kind of get stuck, and then that same intensity that makes Roland such a cool character also makes it a tragic thing where he just becomes obsessed and he,
Yeah,
puts his mission, his quest above the lives of the people he cares about, and ends up really coming back to hurt anyone that is his friend or his family or one of his loved ones. So I think the horror is great. It's a kind of different vibe. It's much more subtle than most Stephen King, but character wise, I think it is. It's just a book I can infinitely reread, and I would love to see just that. My earlier point about Flanagan's series is, if nothing else, I just want Wizard and Glass as a standalone Western. Like,
yeah,
it would be so fucking good.
yeah. I cannot disagree with you.
Yeah.
Um, like Wizard and Glass is, I think, probably my second favorite uh Dark Tower book in the Dark Tower series. Um, no, you know what? Nope, third.
Same third?
Because the gunslinger exists, and
Yeah.
I love the gunslinger. But
I figured Gun.
my number one favorite is Wolves of the Kala.
Really?
Yeah, which I know a lot of people are kind of
I liked it.
divide.
Yeah.
I just find the wolves themselves to just be. It's like Stephen King at his most kingly. Like he just, dude, like these things are described as they're on horseback. They look like Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
They they have lightsabers and they throw golden snitches from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was just so just balls to the wall, ridiculous, and just so Stephen King. And I love that one. And then the gunslinger is just what you were saying before about just Roland's obsession and how he'll hurt anyone who he gets close to.
Hmm.
The kind of the get to that in or not get to that, but like they kind of foreshadow that in the gunslinger when he straight up just kills Jake,
Yeah.
or,
Lets him
or, or I
drop.
guess lets him die. He doesn't kill him,
The
but
whole go then, there are other worlds in these. Is just, fuck, that is such a good
such a
book.
good, yeah, dude. I love it.
Stuff. And you know what? I had to think about Wolves of the Kala for a second. I did like it. I remember thinking it was a little cheesy how almost meta it was, which is sort of a common complaint with the last three or four Dark
Yeah,
Tower books, probably last three. But I did like it, and the Father Callahan stuff, because Salem's Lot
yes,
is another.
that is my that's why that one's my favorite. Like the wolves, of course, I find them entertaining, but yeah, I love that it was kind of like a light sequel to Salem's Lot.
Yes.
Um, and you learn so much about what happened to Callahan after that book, and because he was such a fascinating character. I almost picked Salem's Lot actually for my book, but
Me too. It was up there. It
yeah,
was
dude,
really.
it's so dude, just like the the boy at the window, like.
Hmm.
I had heard that term, the boy at the window, so many times before I read Salem's Lot, and it still got me when I read it. Like
Yeah.
I was waiting for it the whole book, and still.
It's another one that's one of the more genuinely scary
Hmm.
Stephen King books. Like it is, it's a banger, and it's bloody, and it is just creepy, and it's very well written.
Hmm.
Uh, and also, Jerusalem's not Lot is such a cool fucking name for
Oh
for a
yeah,
town for a vampire invasion.
hell yeah. Did you
Uh,
ever read the short story Jerusalem's Lot?
I don't know if I did. What collection was that in Graveyard Shift?
I want to say it was in Graveyard Shift.
If it
Um,
was in one of the major collections, I've definitely read it at some point.
yeah, it's definitely it is. It's written in a it's in Night Shift.
Night Shift, okay.
Yeah, which I don't know. Night Shift might be uh my favorite collection of his. There's so many good ones in there.
I
Jerusalem's
need
Lot.
to look it up because I know I've read it. I'm trying to remember if that's the one that has like the creepy painting that's following the guy.
Oh my god.
Was that?
That's why can't I remember the name? That is one of my favorite King short stories ever.
Yeah,
One for the road. Is that it? Maybe.
I don't think that's it, but I
No,
know
it's not.
that's another good one. And then there was the fucking rats at the factory was
Yes.
wild. I can't remember if that was Night Shift. Okay, yes, I looked it up. All right, so Night Shift. I was confusing. A Graveyard Shift is one of the stories in Night Shift. The Mangler is the one with
Yes.
the machine. Oh, the Boogeyman was in there too. Fuck, and that's coming out now as a
I
film.
cannot wait. It looks so good, dude. And that was
Wow.
a creepy ass short story.
Yeah, the ending of it legitimately. I read it when I was a kid too, which was, but
Me
it
too.
gave me nightmares. It gave me some severe the reveal, and then like the mental exercise of okay, you're a parent, and then your child is crying in this dark room, and you know there's a monster in there, and the fact that the character is like, I hesitated. It's scary because that's another thing. That's an ego death. That's a death of yourself. You would think that
It's
I'd do
totally
anything to protect my
powerless.
child. Yeah, but you're also just so scared, and for a moment you're just like, maybe if it takes it, it'll leave me alone. And you're like, holy shit, that's so awful.
Yeah, I'm thinking about my child, but yeah.
Oh, man.
The road virus heads north.
The road virus heads
That's the
north.
painting one. Where the
Okay,
painting,
okay.
yeah,
All
the
right,
guy.
one for the road. I had to look up Night Shift. Is
Kind
oh,
of,
it's after Salem's Lot,
yeah,
where there's vampires still there. Okay.
yeah. I knew, I knew it was road something. I knew road was in the title.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one of the standouts I would pick if anyone asks, like, do you think Stephen King would have just taken over No Sleep if he was born 40 or 50 years later, something like that? Yeah, absolutely. That
Yeah,
is such a. I'm sure it inspired millions of creepypastas,
for
but this whole
sure.
there's a painting that's updating itself because the things coming
Yes,
after you. Such a No Sleep vibe.
for sure. Yeah, it really is. And yeah, I think we've talked about that before. That I like to like because I mean, there's a chance that Stephen King has an account that's just a random username, and he has just like cleaned up in upvotes, or he's just had a story removed because that's all they fucking do over there. Sorry, I had to get it in there once.
I don't know, man. I feel like one day it'd be nice to have a podcast and just invite the No Sleep mods on and just
Oh
have an
man,
actual
dude,
just
anytime you guys want, bring it on.
a friendly chat, a nice
Yeah, real
chill.
fucking friendly. No, I would like to talk to them. It'd be cool. I think that'd be interesting because it's this
Yeah.
place we all love. We just love it in different ways, I guess.
And it's
Um,
interesting that there aren't more No Sleep adjacent podcasts. Like there's the No Sleep podcast, but it's not about no
yeah, it
sleep.
doesn't really have anything to do with it.
I
Yeah.
think there's going to be a really great documentary in like 10 or 15 years about how wild of a place No Sleep is
Hmm.
because it's such a massive creative writing outlet that so few people seem to know about.
Yeah,
It still pulls incredible numbers. Maybe less now than before, but that's a different
it's less now.
debate.
It's less now. All right, nope. I gotta stop. I gotta stop because I could talk about this for days, and I will someday.
And well, and I do have to hop off soon.
Oh shit. Okay.
At like
All right.
an hour. Yeah, we see
Yeah.
that's the thing. Why we need like a timekeeper. I'm like, I can't believe it's
Yeah.
already been an hour. It
Yeah.
feels like it's
Right.
been 15
Man.
minutes.
Overall entertainment value. We've touched on all the other judging metrics. Story.
Mhm.
I I almost want to kind of give it to myself here because The Outsider doesn't. I mean, dude, like, and this is like Wizard and Glass. It is a great story, but if we're talking just straight story, you can't really just jump into it. You can't talk about it without talking about the Dark Tower series as a whole.
But that's one of the reasons why I picked it. I think that out of all of them, minus the Gunslinger, because Gunslinger is a great entry and a great standalone,
Yeah,
Wizard and Glass would be the next closest because so much of it is contained internally.
with
And
the
that
story within.
story, yes, you don't
Yeah,
require all the other information. And then the frame story, which is the modern Cadet, is it's great to know all that information. Obviously, it all connects, but I don't think you need to enjoy it. I think that you can just pick up from context that they're on this quest or journey, and then settle down for the bulk of the. And also, sorry, my dog's here, and he's
that's cool, man.
trying to get on camera. And I'm petting him. Hi, Parker. And that's one that you could enjoy, especially if you like westerns. Like that to me is the thing. It's such a good fucking western. It's
for sure.
Three cowboys ride into a bad town and clean it up, and the main switch is that there's magic, and it's the shattered reality. Plus the cowboys are all like 14.
Yeah.
And it's not cheesy, which is the thing that really blows my mind, because you would think that this would be like a Disney Channel
somehow,
movie.
some way he makes it.
But
just
it's so dark, and they're all just so vicious, especially Roland. It's.
I've been looking for something to read these last probably 2 weeks or so. I think I'm gonna reread Wizard and Glass. I think I have to. So thank you for picking this one. All right, you know what? I will give it to you. I will give Story to you. Because there's the points you just raised. It's an incredible story, and I wasn't trying to suggest that it wasn't. I was just kind of more thinking just in terms of the greater
standalone. But I think it can work as standalone, and then it gets bonus story points because once you're hooked, you could even start with that one, and then at that point you want to learn more about the whole Dark Tower series.
That's true.
I think it is both a single. Parker, do you need to go out, buddy? I'll be done in a sec. Single amazing, piece of fiction, and then wrapped around it is this amazing world that you can dive into.
That's true. So, okay. All right.
To summarize my argument, I think that Wizard and Glass, the characters, as much as I like some of the ones in Outsider, I think they're so much more iconic in Wizard and Glass.
That's for sure. I couldn't even remember the main character's name, which I do now. It's Terry Maitland.
Jason Bateman. Yeah.
Jason Bateman. I'll give you characters for sure.
All right. And I think story, I would side with myself there.
Yeah.
Whether Wizard and Glass, and then I would give you horror. Yeah. But I think that overall that means...
Yeah. It's Wizard and Glass is the winner. I'll give it to you. I mean... I even though I could have sworn we said no Dark Tower when we were discussing this.
I don't remember that. I
think you said no. Like you can't pick the whole series as your
you can't pick the whole exactly. You can't pick the whole Dark Tower because obviously I think for most Stephen King fans that would win
for sure. I thought we had a gentleman's agreement, but I guess we didn't. I'm just kidding.
One of them.
No man, that was a good discussion, and I agree. I personally enjoy The Outsider more. But I think I'll give it to you. As far as King books go, it's hard to beat anything from the Dark Tower. Any standalone entry from the Dark Tower is usually gonna, unless you get down to like It and Pet Sematary and all his like real, the King books. But once you get to that, it's all just a matter of opinion, really.
I do think though that there's still an opportunity if we maybe not next time, but in the future, want to have a debate about the best Dark Tower book. Because while I'm Team Wizard and Glass, I see the argument for Wolves, and I could see the argument for Gunsling. Honestly, you could any of them.
You can pick any two and hold them up against each other. Yeah, dude, we should do that. And you know what we should do? We should pick them out of a hat.
Ooh, that'd be fun. And then have to defend the ones we get. Because I believe that's very possible that you could make an argument for any of them. Yeah,
hell yeah, dude. We'll definitely do that. All right, man. I will touch base with you, and actually, wait. I'm gonna say goodbye now, but don't hang up just yet. I just need that like 2 seconds. But yeah, dude. I'll touch base with you, and we will nail down what we're gonna do next week, and give us some time to get prepped. I'll text me just later on today, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do.
All right, man. Sounds good.
You have a good one, sir.
You as well. Hi, Parker.
Right. And congratulations on the win, he said begrudgingly. Nah, man, you earned it. That was.
It's such a good, but Outsider again, amazing, and I am very glad and impressed that you picked a more modern one because I think it is easy to go back to like, we're gonna do It or Salem's Lot,
The Shining,
Airy, The Stand. Jesus, he had so many good ones.
I know, dude.
Knocker. I love
Tommy Knocker. Hell yeah, dude. The Langoliers.
Yeah. Silver Bullet. Oh, man.
And from a
Actually, Langoliers is a tough. I
know. I was kidding, dude. Did you see my face? I was like, the Langoliers. That was not a great book. But dude, The Library Policeman. As far as short stories go, sorry. I know you gotta go. I'm sorry, dude. I could talk about this all day. All right,
man.